Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week number 21 of the HORRORMan's SlashBack Saturday Challenge. This week's slasher movie theme is Legendary Slasher, and I will be giving my review for The Legend of Bloody Jack. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. Based on the terrifying true events behind America's scariest campfire tale. Campfire urban legend Bloody Jack comes to life in this brutal telling of the true story behind one of America's most prolific serial killers. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. The Legend of Bloody Jack is a low-budget slasher movie that was put out in 2007, released by The Asylum. Now, a lot of people may recognize The Asylum as a company that puts out a lot of low-budget sci-fi type movies, and that has really become their bread and butter over the last several years. But back in the mid-2000s, they were releasing some slasher movies, and to be 100% honest with you, I actually prefer the slasher movies that they were releasing, and I think it would be really cool if they went back to making more low-budget slasher movies. They released Jolly Roger Massacre at Cutter's Cove, and I have a review for that one up on my channel already. They released another slasher movie that I enjoy a lot called Halloween Night. If you are into low-budget slasher movies, you may want to check some of these out. Now, the basic story of this movie is that we have a group of friends that have gotten together to take this weekend trip. Different members of the group have their own motivations for this trip. But for the most part, most of the group want to have a good weekend. They're wanting to create loving and lasting memories. They gather around the campfire and begin to tell the legend of Bloody Jack. They tell a story about a man and a woman who had went out into the woods to summon Bloody Jack. They went missing and they have never been accounted for. As far as the acting and the characters go in this movie, I thought the acting can be considered average at best, maybe even slightly below average, but for this type of low-budget slasher movie, I found the acting to be passable. As far as the characters go, I didn't really have a standout favorite character. I thought they were all pretty decent, and I thought they were good characters for this type of story. And I enjoyed seeing them get picked off one by one. There is something that I find really interesting about how this movie is set up. Hopefully, I can explain this in a way that is not giving too much away, because the last thing I want to do is ruin the movie for anybody. I feel like in general, as slasher movie fans, we have grown to expect slasher movies to have a plot twist. And it just so happens that this movie sort of has two plot twists. Now, that is the information that I was wanting to give, and hopefully it's not too much detail given away. And if it is, I apologize, but it's something that I wanted to mention because I feel like the opening sequence with the opening twist, I feel like it works really well. It's a nice transition piece, whereas the closing sequence with the ending twist, I feel like is what a lot of people may have an issue with for this movie. And from a pure logic standpoint, I could totally understand that and agree with that. But from a pure fun and popcorn value, I actually really had fun with it and enjoyed the ending twist. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie. That is the killer and the kills. I really enjoy the killer we have in this movie. He is a supernatural lumberjack, and of course, his weapon of choice is an axe. He's dressed in camouflage, and part of his face is covered. What we do get to see looks like maybe some burns or some scar tissue. So overall, a really good look for the killer. He more or less has a calling card, so when you start to hear his axe being sharpened, you know that he is about to appear. And I just thought that was a pretty neat little character detail that they added for the killer in this movie. Now, as far as the supernatural element of this killer, he is more or less a ghost. So he can appear and disappear at will. That's probably the part of the character that I didn't like that much, but overall, I thought this killer was pretty decent. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what I considered to be the highlight of the movie, and that is the kills. I thought this movie had some really good kills, and considering the killer is using an axe in this movie, we have some pretty violent deaths. Now, you can tell that they didn't have a lot of money to work with, but what they were able to accomplish with what they had, I thought they did a great job. The one kill that I'm going to mention is Bloody Jack. He is able to sever a peeing penis with ease, and I seriously think that would take some talent. Overall, I thought The Legend of Bloody Jack was a pretty fun, low-budget slasher movie. It had average acting at best. The storyline wasn't really the greatest, and the gore and the effects were a little on the cheap side. But overall, the killer and the kills were fun. So if you are a fan of low-budget slasher movies, I think that there is entertainment to be had with this one. I'm going to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen The Legend of Bloody Jack, or let me know what you think about my review. And I would like to thank you all for watching.